most of my assistants, including students from this class, why you're so easily getting sick? You know, like I've been back to Taiwan for 15 years now. Altogether, my sick days probably added together about 1 week at the most. Okay, so I don't understand why you're so vulnerable or fragile. Okay. Now, question for countries, third world countries. First one, what's the one that is really on the spotlight? Korea. Okay, South Korea. If we still consider a third world country, which a lot of people don't think South Korea is a third world country, but South Korea is in trouble. Okay. But it has more to do with international conflict rather than domestic one. So we have one issue here for South Korea. Is South Korea usually have very, we call militant students. You understand militant student? Students very much like to, take on the street, radical, right? Violent. But facing North Korea, they're pretty rational now. Saying what are the things they're going to do to retaliate North Korea. Excuse me, this is an interesting thing. So let's try North Korea. What would they do to retaliate North Korea? 罗志远 陈永元 missing 曾一平 yeah, what would they do right now, South Korea? If you find out the torpedo hit you, right, hit your ship, and you verify after the investigation it's North Korea, what do? You say, well, North Korea is a mania, it's a crazy country, we cannot do anything. Asking the international?
Yeah.
Okay, what would that be?
Ask for the United Nations.
Well, I think South Korea has a good excuse not to ask United Nations, even though they did, right? They asked the United Nations Security Council to have some kind of sanctions. So what would be a good excuse not to ask United Nations? Anyone? I like to give all the question like, like 5 possible answers. Can you come up with a good answer why South Korea should not ask United Nations to intervene? First of all, 50 years ago, June, next month is June. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, right? In 1950, what happened? Korean War, okay, broke out. So, do you want United Nations again to say something? Last time they said something, and American came, and then you have 3 years of war. Okay, so that would be the first reason South Korea should not ask North Korea, because last time ended up with military conflict. Okay, what else? How about this one? I will give this to South Korea government. Say, we cannot ask United Nations to intervene. Why? Because the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, is a Korean, South Korean. That would not be fair. It's like one of us to intervene. He will be partial. He cannot be impartial. 这样公平吗？这个下台阶好不好？对南韩说， 我们不能找联合国帮忙，因为刚好联合国秘书长是我们南韩前任外交部长，这样子好像有一点这个叫什么？要避嫌哦，所以我们不要找联合国，可以。What do you think? Is that a good excuse? So South Korea, if they don't want United Nations to intervene, okay, right now they come up with something. One is called, we will not trade with you anymore. Okay, does North Korea care about trading with South Korea? Don't underestimate. North Korea is an isolated country. Nobody is doing business with North Korea, but still they have some trading. Number one trading partner, which country? China, right? South Korea is number two, representing 15%, okay, 15% of trade. So would that kind of sanction affect North Korea? North Korea, I think they're always, in a hunger situation, so I don't think they care. So South Korea also said North Korea shipping cannot go through some of the water very close to South Korea. I don't think those will be very strong. So anyway, North Korea is ready to fight, and South Korea cannot fight the war, okay? Because North Korea has, what's the size of Taiwan's army right now? Some of you will probably join the military in a few years. 台湾军队现在多少人? Anyone? Make a guess. 200,000. Okay, when I was your age, it was 600,000. Now being reduced to 200,000. Okay? And North Korea, population is about the same as Taiwan. Military, 1 million. Okay? So if they use so-called the strategy of People's Mountain, People's Sea. People's Mountain, People's Sea. Then I think the South Korea will be overwhelmed. Okay? So that's a big problem for North and South Korea, but that's an international issue. We're not dealing with international issue. What's the other country that we have some political development issues? Just ended last week. Thailand. Okay, so Thailand. Don't you think the Russian army very much like the Chinese rebels in history before? 流窜到首都，然后烧burning, and then I don't think they do some kind of raping, but burning and then left, right? So the big problem for Thailand again, why a country used to be so good with political compromise and pragmatism. Okay, Thailand, remember, is a country of pragmatism. And ended up with such a civil war. Okay, all those, remember those cleavages. Okay, big problem with Thailand. And Thailand used to, if you look at the tributary states of China, I don't think Thailand is the one that has to come to China every year. Okay, 暹罗 part of the 朝贡制度, but not very close. And then Thailand survived Great Britain and France competing in Indochina before, during the colonial time. Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos became French colonies. Malaysia, Singapore, Burma became, and India became British colony. So in between, you have a Thailand, which is a neutral, independent. So Thailand played Great Britain against France, play France against Great Britain, and secure its independence. That's Thailand, okay? And then during World War II, between Japan and the allies. Thailand, again, pretend to be independent, to be non-aligned and survive. Okay, Thailand was not overrun by Japan. Thailand worked with Japan, but United States did not consider Thailand as a collaborator of Japan. So Thailand had a government, sent a representative to Washington, D.C. saying, no, we are not really supporting Japan. We are really working with you. So playing both hands. Thailand was very good at this, but suddenly they lost that touch. They can no longer compromise. All those cleavages, okay, being played out. So that's the big problem with Thailand. Why they have to tell me so many times that nothing, okay? Thank you. Okay, there is another country in Africa having election, and another one just canceled the election, and the president has been made life-term president. Not life-term, okay. President, the term limit is no longer there. One country here in Africa is having election right now. I think they're going to count, called Ethiopia. Okay, Ethiopia is having election, so we will know the result very soon. But another country, I love this third world country right now. Used to be they had military coup, or they changed the term of the president, right? Change the constitution so that you have no term limit, or remove the term limit. But now, what happened? What is this? What do we do with this? Problem detected. Now, in Africa right now, they say, well, we are having a presidential election, but we are not ready for the election. So the election, like Ivory Coast before, has been postponed. Now, what about the president's term limit? Well, we will wait until the next election can be held. So the best thing right now is trying to stir up something and then no election. No election means automatic extension of your, terms. So which country is this country? CAR, C-A-R. Okay, what is C-A-R? Some of you did this map test. What is CAR? So the map test isn't helping. What is CAR? We're talking about Africa. We have a DRC, that's the Democratic Republic of Congo. But CAR is with Congo, no? And Republic, no. What is it? Central African Republic. Oh, we love this country, right? Central African Republic. And this is a strange country. It's in the middle of nowhere. If you have a map, okay, I think we have a map somewhere. Okay. Central African Republic, one time they also had, they love their military coup. They have military coup, and then what else? After the military coup, the president said, well, I think I should be the life-term president. Means no limits, right? No presidential limits. And then what else? He said, I enjoy to be this lifelong president. Why don't you just make me an emperor? Okay, he is the only modern emperor in Africa. Okay, but being overthrown later. So Central African Republic, right now, again, a new president postponing election after 2 terms and maybe wanting to stay forever, but I'm not sure he's going to be a new emperor. Okay, if you're interested, if you're trying to support the Democratic Republic of Congo, not Congo, Central Africa, then what you need to do is send the story of Yuan Shikai, okay, to this country, saying, look, we have some president before in Chinese history that tried to become emperor and then die, right? So also you have a Bukasa. I think it's John. This is the one that back in the 70s made himself emperor. Well, he came to Taiwan before, and when he came to Taiwan, we greeted him so much. I remember reading some of the news, the story about Central African Republic. We don't do that anymore. In the past, when our diplomatic ally, president, came to Taiwan, our central daily news, 中央日报, we have a column of that country, saying how great this president has been doing, even though he is a dictator, right? We would say, well, this president has been president since 1954. Okay, let's say this is 1970. I'm sorry, this is about Stroessner, Paraguay. Okay, so we talk about, wow, and he's a strong, staunch anti-communist, just like us, right? And all the nice things. We did that. Central Africa, we say the same thing about Bukasa, saying, wow, he's a strong anti-communist, even though it is still backward, but under his leadership, enlightened leadership, okay, the country is moving forward. No, it's not moving forward, okay? But so this is another country, so we still have some of those. And let's go. Oh, now I know that you can. This is like the floppy disk before. Do you remember those floppy disk? That you cannot put in first, right? Only after you turn on. But why suddenly all this removable disk is like this? What happened? Oh. Okay, last time we talked about the human rights and Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And you always remember dependency and development view of human rights. Okay, so we're going to ask you about this one. Yang Wenting, in terms of dependency and development, we have, this collective versus individual. Do you know the word collective versus individual? Okay, now, which one is more likely to support collective human rights? Which one is more likely to support individual human rights? Dependency, development. Okay, I think we are matching here. Dependency theory, emphasizing collective or individual human rights. No, not here. Okay, we're going back. Let's go back here to here. Collective versus individual. And then we have dependency and development, right? Two theories. If they look at the human rights, which one do you think they emphasize more? Like dependency people, the core and the periphery people. Which one would they emphasize more? Collective or individual? Collective, we're talking about dependency people, right? And you're thinking it's the individual. Why? First of all, which side argue for collective, Western or Eastern idea of human rights? This is very important, okay? Because right now, just last week, for example, China and United States had a human rights dialogue. And used to be, United States always condemned China's lack of human rights. And China said, no, we have two different kinds. We have different definition of human rights. So don't blame my human right. But at least right now, China said, okay, you can have your different view. You can show your concern. That's understandable. But still, we have a different definition of human rights. For example, in Asia or in Taiwan right now, I think we do not allow, right, spanking of kids. But a lot of parents in Taiwan said, you depriving my human rights? I don't have the right to spank my kid? 我打孩子的人权没有了，现在还是孩子的人权比较重要。Which one is more important in Taiwan right now? Can you spank your kids? Will you do that? I spanked my kid before, I think, when they were under 2 years old. Okay. But which one? Okay, we're talking about different human rights. So, China and United States, which one would China emphasize? Collective or individual? Collective. China will emphasize collective. Remember last week we talked about, those households that refuse to move in China. They would say under the pressure for the goods of the entire community, right? You have to do. That's collective. Okay. So China emphasized collective, and a lot of economic rights like right to work, social rights. So healthcare, those China emphasize. United States or Western country emphasize what we call individual, personal, civil liberty, political rights. So how about dependency and development? Which one is collective?
One is dependency and the other one is
Developmentalist. Remember those two views? Oh. Hey. Okay. So you understand those two theories, right? One is development is like a stage. You gradually move, and once you become economically developed, then political democracy will come, right? Dependency, talk about this core and peripheral relations. You cannot follow the Western country of development. You have to cut off your, dependence on the West so that you will not be exploited. Dependency, no. Actually, Western idea. Developmental is more Western. Dependency is the third world perspective. Okay? The third world country said, remember, you should not associate with the Western country. The more association you have, the more vulnerable you could become. You will be more exposing yourself to exploitation. okay, which has a problem recently. Again, what was the big problem about core and periphery and exploitation in the past week or in the past month? I'm sorry, if you go to look the BBC website, they talk about Taiwan's iPhone company, Foxconn, 富士康. Hey, I'm sorry, you said, no, it's not Taiwan's company, it's in Shenzhen. They said Taiwan iPhone company, suicides. 富士康跳了几个了？11个了啊？好像11个了哦。今天啊 ，OK。And it's the core of the core in Taiwan and the core of the periphery in China work together to exploit the periphery of the core, like Taiwan's workers losing jobs, and then the periphery of the periphery workers in China being exploited so much they committed suicide. And people say, wait a second, they got paid better in Foxconn than other company locally. Why are they committing suicide? Interesting, huh? We have a good case of core and periphery exploitation, all kinds of problems. So remember, we have this collective human rights. You're talking about the group rights instead of the individual. For example, China will care more about the peasants together versus as a class versus the capitalist, before. Whereas the U.S. would talk about the individual being left alone. Okay, so that's the big difference. Remember, developmentalists probably prefer this Western, or we call individual perception of human rights, whereas the dependency people prefer the collective civil rights, human rights. So those are the important idea. Okay, so we have to change that whole thing. Wow. So that's the human rights situation, and not sure about China right now. People said, what do you think? It's going to help China? Like your co-workers report someone has this suicidal tendency. Then you report, you get how much money? 800 Taiwanese dollar? Huh? If you find out like, oh, so-and-so look like suicidal, and then you report, early warning. So you got rewarded. They pay you about $800. Will that work? So what do they want, in terms of human rights? These workers in Foxconn, they got better pay than most of the company outside. The building, wow. Look at the building. You're working for Foxconn, wow. So what do you have to complain? Say, oh, there is also a group of people called strawberry in China. Huh? Just not very good under the pressure. We don't know. Okay, but this is an interesting core and periphery case. So human rights, people said we need to look at some of the other issues. And I want to bring up one more issue, because if you look at the different regions of the third world, the one which has the best human rights happen to be, according to the book, in Latin America and maybe in East Asia as well. And then the one which is not the worst is in the Middle East. So we have a big question here. Human rights and democracy, are they cultural? In other words, are they related to, especially to religion? So in Latin American countries, in East Asian countries, Christianity or Buddhism are the one. So you have greater tolerance, better respect for human rights. And then you go to Middle East, you have Islam. And then people say Islam is incompatible with democracy. Wow. Liu Shuhong. Oh, excuse me. Forgot to turn it off. Hello? 哎，我在上课，等一下回你电话啊。OK。OK。刘玉兰，你在吗？龚颖之 ，OK。Is Islam incompatible? You understand the word incompatible? Incompatible. This is, you have to learn this word, okay? Because next time when you break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you say, well, you know, we're basically incompatible. It's like a computer. What do we call that? 不相容, right? Computer program are incompatible. But in terms of personality, that would be a good one. You know, this is the best excuse. You know, if you look at all kinds of divorce documents, they would say, well, because incompatible, you know, or irreconcilable something cannot be, you know, fixed. So, is Islam incompatible with democracy? Okay, so how do you refute this accusation? How do you say, how do you reject this thing? No, this is wrong.
Islam is just a religion, so it doesn't conflict with the...
Yeah, but look at Islam. Islam teach you to obey, right? Islam teach you a lot of discipline, so it's not going to... but why Middle Eastern countries are not democratic?
Because there are more political conflicts compared to...
Well, but Saudi Arabia doesn't have a lot of conflict. Saudi Arabia is the least democratic country. Even though it's a very important, stable, it's a monarchy, right? But it's not democratic at all in Saudi Arabia. For example, in my university, we have an Arabic language department student. We would not send female students to Saudi Arabia, just too conservative. Okay, if we have female students, we would not send them to Kuwait. Will be also a little bit conservative. But if we can send them to Bahrain, you know, the Gulf states, 海湾国家, more enlightened. Okay, or Jordan. We will send them to Jordan, okay, but not, not Saudi Arabia, not Kuwait. Okay, those are very conservative. So, okay, good. You said, well, that's because it's not stable, but they are stability as well. I mentioned the country is very stable. Okay, so you cannot just blame the political instability. How do you refute? How do you reject this accusation that Islam and democracy is incompatible? You know what? People used to say Confucianism and democracy is incompatible. Ooh, why? They say, Confucius, it's all this talk about this filial submission, 孝顺, 兄友弟. It's a hierarchy. Hierarchical order. So look at all the Chinese, idea about empire and emperor. Confucianism is incompatible with democracy, but somehow Taiwan proved wrong. But people said, no, we didn't prove it wrong. We just abandoned Confucianism, right? That's the reason we are democratic now. Because once we stop celebrating the Teachers' Day, Taiwan became democratic. So that's one. Okay, people once said that Confucianism and democracy does not go together, but now, okay, I don't think we can use Taiwan. Why don't we use where Confucius really come from? Korea. Okay. Korea, South Korea is democratic, right? It's, by the way, South Korea is more Confucianist, okay, than Taiwan. Okay, if you go to South Korea, they have more elaborated celebration, all the rites of ancient Confucius celebration. So South Korea is democratic, and that's true. Okay, so at least the Confucian countries like China, Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam, half and half. Okay, so we would say half and half. But what about Islam? So using this, what will you say? So we can say, what do we have an Islamic country that is democratic? I think that's the only way to refute it. Right? Say, hey, you said it's incompatible, but look, here is one country that is Islamic but democratic. Indonesia is democratic. Remember those index? Indonesia is 2 and 2. Okay? Political freedom and civil liberty, PFI index. Indonesia is democratic now. But you say, oh, it's just lucky. Just a little bit like the Lamar Odin. We just got lucky. Okay. So, what's another one? Give me another one that is more democratic. Jordan, okay, not as democratic. Jordan is more open, but I don't think it's democratic. Turkey, okay, Turkey is democratic, so we can use Turkey. We can use Lebanon, but Lebanon is not truly Muslim country. Okay, it has a variety of religions. But people can also use Malaysia. But then some people say Malaysia is not democratic. Okay? But Malaysia is quasi-democratic. So you can use cases that, well, we have religion that is democratic. Okay. So, how about India? India is a democracy. What's the main religion in India? Hinduism, right? So is Hinduism more compatible to democracy? We don't know. Just one country, one case. Then Buddhist country like Sri Lanka, Vietnam. Okay. So what happened? What's the reason? Oh, okay. Is it incompatible with your professor? Maybe. I know there's sometimes you. Oh, okay. And this one here, okay. This is the disc I retrieved. Remember, I spent several $1,000s retrieving that one. Where is my human rights? Okay. This is the one I retrieved. Oh. Incompatible. Okay, here they mention in the book saying you need to look at human rights. You look at good government and how their human rights records. So there are 4 qualities they said. Okay, first one. Okay, good government means it's the core of the exercise of power. Means that's the most important part in power. And also to political accountability. What do you mean by accountability? 李庆恩，政治会计学吗？ What is political accountability? not applicable when we talk about hold someone politically accountable. He's responsible for something. So not just responsible, saying I hold you accountable means if you don't deliver, then there should be some consequences. Okay, that means, so central to political accountability. For example, if our government, like right now, we have a president, before his inauguration, he talked about 633, right? Do you know this? 633. I thought he watched too many movies because he's a little bit older than me. There was a movie long time ago called the 633 Bombing Division or something. 633轰炸大队. Okay, there was a movie long time ago. So what is that 633? Do you know? Our president promised us, saying he will have economic growth over 6%. Okay, it will reach 6% maybe this year. But it's like, hey, let me mess up first. Let me have a decline first. And then, wow, such a low basis, then grow so fast. At least he will reach 6% this year. But because it was a contraction last year, 去年是经济什么倒退啊，所以今年成长超过6，其实是没有增长。Okay, 是有成长 but not a lot. Okay, so that's 6. And then 3 is saying unemployment rate should be lower than 3%, which I don't think can be possible. But how do we hold him accountable? Saying, you lied to us, you didn't deliver. He said, well, I'm sorry, I'm just lucky here to be president. What can you do? Right? So how do you hold a president accountable? Or maybe we can recall him, 罢免, right? So that will, saying, what's the charge? Saying you lied to us. Okay, so that's one thing we can do. So that's accountable. So good government, everybody wants good government. You want that, okay? And more importantly, the third quality is about, development. When good government means they have a purpose, they want to do something, development-oriented. Okay, they want to move the country forward. Okay, that's good government. And then more importantly, they want to improve the quality of life for people. So if we look at this 4 human rights, and then we will say, how do you measure, right? Gauge means how do you measure good government? They said, well, just look at the 2 things. One is political one is, socio-economic one. So PFI, the one we mentioned, what is that? Political Freedom Index, then Human Development Index. So those are the one we look at. Okay. And this, I think, is the one, we talk about culture. And just happen to be, but if we use the same analogy, can we say, ooh, look, this also has something to do with compatible with atomic bomb. Huh? Religion is also compatible with atomic bomb. Look, if you're Christian countries like United States and Great Britain, you have nuclear bomb. If you like France, a Catholic country, you have a nuclear bomb. If you like India, Hindu country, you have a bomb. And Buddhism, like maybe China, you said you have a bomb. Islamic country don't have a bomb. No Islamic country have a bomb. So can we say that that's also related as well, compatible? So religion is, Islam is incompatible with democracy. Islam is incompatible with nuclear weapons. No nuclear weapons. Is that fair? Even Judaism, 以色列犹太教, they have one. So no wonder, Pakistan, Iraq, Iran want to develop a nuclear bomb, saying, how come? I mean, God is discriminating against the Muslim, right? Muslims do not have an atomic bomb. That's the reason they have been, oppressed by other religions, other religions. No, I don't think we can say that. The same thing about Islamic religion, incompatible with democracy. Yes, there are certain elements, but there are also ways of, examples of Islamic country having, democracy. So it's not the only one, but people do use, the Islamic practice as a reason why the Middle East are not very democratic. Okay, let's take a break here. This is a bad 1 hour, the worst 1 hour I have with my computer. Okay, let's take a. Do you find that you are discriminated against? No, you don't have that feeling at all. That's because you're in Taiwan. Okay, I think we have a lot. So this chapter is about women and power, and especially in the third world. And the chapter covers these three areas: social issues, in terms of education, health, and work, and then economic issues. Especially look at SAP, Structure Adjustment Program, how that affect women and girls, and then the political issues, that they don't have a lot of political power. But, okay, again, women in development, these are developmental and dependency perspective. Ms. Young, again, dependency and development. Now, WID, women in development, basically the traditional developmentalist view, saying women, you're part of the mainstream, so you need to work hard to make sure you can be treated equally in the mainstream. So you want to fight your rights within the mainstream, making sure you get equal work for equal pay for equal work. Those type of things. Make sure education system will not discriminate against you. So those we call women in development. You are part of the mainstream, and you need to become, equal in this process. But women in development, basically is that don't trust this asking you to get better education, to fight for your right. No, if you want to become independent, having rights, having power, you set up your own business. Separate from the mainstream. So, for example, let's say we have been to a lot of banks, right? Most of the tellers are ladies, right? Somehow the manager, a lot of them are men. You say, oh, this system is not right. Some people say, no, it is right. Look, teller means, women are good at talking. So that's the reason they are teller. 这样子吗？你晓不晓得那个 teller T-E-L-L-E-R 其实就是那个柜台行员啊。但我不知道英文 why 英文 is called teller. It's like people who can tell. So they say women are better in communication. But it's something wrong here, right? Or maybe in Tsinghua University, you said, look, why all the female professors are associate professor? Why the full professor are all male? This system is wrong. I'm going to fight against this system. Women in development say, no. That's something you cannot fight. So if you think this bank is discriminating, you women set up your own bank. So you can be the CEO. Women, you set up your own university. So you can be the dean, you can be the president of the university, and instead of subjecting you to the discrimination of the system. So women in development, basically moving away from the existing structure and setting up your own business. So we have something like this. Do we have those? Do we have some kind of business like established by women in Taiwan? Do we have that? I think we do. We have something called 主妇联盟, right? How many of you buy something from 主妇联盟? No? Yeah? Okay. So this is one example of women in development. Okay? You're setting up something outside the mainstream. So those are they said, it's the one way of, we call the very important word in women and development, we call empowerment. Okay? Empowerment. 赋予能力, empowerment. So that's, you establish something outside the mainstream. So if we look at the social issues, people say, there are a lot of problems. Look, in most of the third world countries, women have lower literacy rate. Okay? Women have lower school enrollment, between boys and girls, lower attendance in clinics. What does that mean? Means if you have kids getting sick, if it's a son, that's more important. Let's go to see the doctor. If it's a girl, it's a daughter. She can survive, right? So you have even higher rate for boys to visit the doctors. Of course, it costs a lot, right? And then lower earning per hour means your wages, and sometimes in Taiwan, the same kind of job, people will pay men more and women less, because people will say, men have to raise a family, so they need the money. Women, they work for pocket money, so they don't have to get the same pay. They also have lesser access to credit and land. Means, most of the land ownership are in man, under the name of the man, instead of women. In Taiwan, finally, we have changed that, right? Right now, daughters can inherit property if there is no will. Okay, if there is no will, a father die, a parent die, the property, the land, equally divided among kids. So the girl will not be discriminated if there is no will. But what happens if there is a will, and then the parent will say, I'm sorry, daughter, you are what? What do we call? Outsiders now, so we cannot have you inherit the wealth of the family. So women have problem of land, credit, and then political power. So we go back to look at this one. Lower literacy rate. Okay, in Taiwan, your grandparents' generation and your parents' generation maybe still, there have been this case. Because most of us, my generation, the family size is about 3 to 5, kids. And sometimes you really cannot afford to have every kid receive the same kind of education. So we will sacrifice the girls for the boys, right? Because consider the boys more important. So the girl finished elementary school or junior high school, will say, well, okay, you can go to work and help to, make some money for the, to help your brother to go for his education. But the sad thing in Taiwan, mostly, a lot of sad things, is that the girl is a better student than the boy. So a lot of money being saved to send the boys to school and waste it. Okay, what do we call that in Taiwan? Some people would say 养猪不肥，肥到狗。Okay, you want your son to get a better education, but the son didn't do well, and then you sacrifice your daughter. So lower literacy rate for women before, and then lower school enrollment, and then attendance on clinic. And because of the lower wages, lower school enrollment, or lesser years of education, women have lower earning per hours. So this is, most third world countries suffer from this. And they also, women suffer, we call lifelong discrimination. First one, maternal mortality rate. Okay, this is what we compare. If we compare women in the third world and women in the first world, okay, more women died on childbirth in the third world, which is not very safe. Okay, so that's the first one. And then, when the girl was born, the female infanticide is very prevalent in a lot of countries. What do we mean by that? 李玉勋，没有的，吴东林。What do we mean by female infanticide? You understand suicide, right? Okay, so infanticide, killing of an infant. Killing. So female infanticide, what does that mean?
Someone that keep their
Girl? Yeah.
Finally, when the mother delivered and she found that the baby is a girl, then she...
Basically, a lot of people drown the girl, right? Drown the baby. 把它用水淹死了. Okay, so we have a lot of that. That's the reason they are in China right now, right? The ratio, what's the ratio of China right now? Man and woman. 100 women for 112 men. Okay, so I'm sorry, girls, if you cannot find some in Taiwan, there are more men in China. Well, because they killed so many girls before, right? So that's a big problem, not just in China, but there are also other countries who want boys. So that's one thing. I use my mother as an example, right? I don't have a sister. I have 2 older brothers and 2 younger brothers. Okay, 5 sons. So my mother walked with wind behind her. 走路都好有风啊. So anyway, she almost exchanged my youngest brother, with another family who happened to, the same ward, 病房, 产后, 是不是产后不叫病房, 叫什么? 恢复室. Okay, anyway, the other lady, the third girl, so they decided to exchange. Okay, and they agree. But my father said, well, this one, even though they look ugly, but still ours. Okay, so, but unfortunately, I have to say this. If my youngest brother is a girl, I think she will get spoiled. But another boy, tired of boys. So basically, 放牛吃草, okay, not taking good care. But he got his PhD, but he felt that he was not getting enough attention. So that's female infanticide, or discrimination. You want boys from the very beginning, and then malnutrition. If it's something good, for the son, and the daughter said, "Hey, mom, I want this." No, if I feed you now, 赔钱的, right? So you're going to, marry someone else. You don't even carry our last name. So malnutrition also more in the third world for girl. And if you look at the statistics, okay, actually raising a girl is more, what do we call, cost-benefit effective. Okay, I'm not talking about now, just about third world country, little girl and little boy. Okay, a little girl by the age of 5, she can do the things within the household more than what you have to feed her. In other words, she can help out with household chores. She can take care of younger brothers and sisters. I'm sorry, little boy just, costs more. And until 9 years old, they finally break even. Okay, so 养男孩子要到9岁家里头，就说不读书哦 ，not studying, just helping out. Okay, girls 5 years old can break even. If you consider that as a commodity, huh? So that's. But then there is one more. Okay, this one is not familiar in Asia, but it's in Middle East. Genital mutilation. Okay, this is also a way for parents to control. If you don't understand, look up the dictionary. I don't think I can explain that. But this is a way for father to control the kid. Okay, so this happened in the Middle East. It's still happening, and in a lot of families, Muslim family, even in Europe, they insist their daughter have to go through this, and so there is international humanitarian group trying to change that. And then, of course, lesser educational opportunities for girls. So from the very beginning, you have discrimination, and then when you go to work, a lot of time you have longer working hours, or even if you work at home, it's longer working hours, right? Non-paid household job. How many of your parents or your mom continue to complain, or how many of your mom work at home and draw a salary from your dad? 有没有妈妈是拿爸爸支付薪水的，在家工作照顾孩子 ？Okay, I think they work more. You watch all the statistics. They work much harder than working outside, but they didn't get paid. Some of them got pretty good, not pay, but control of the purse. At least the husband will turn over the salary, right? That's good enough. And then if they do get real job outside, I use a quotation because I think inside the house it's also real job, okay? But if you choose something outside, a lot of time you get lesser pay as well, okay? So that's a big, and then you go to work, you get verbal abuse as well, okay? Is this the fault of the man or women? Okay, I find out, later that why a company like to hire female workers, especially like high-tech company, for packing. They felt female workers are more likely to be docile. What do you mean by docile? D-O-C-I-L-E, instead of being militant. They are more likely to be submissive. They are probably less interested in joining a union, fighting against the management. So a lot of factories like to hire female workers. Female workers are not likely to question the authority as much. Okay, so is it the fault of man or woman? Wang Yuhong. Yeah. Who should be blamed? It's because of the female's docility or male's, abuse. If the female workers are less, are more militant, then, probably we will have lesser abuse. Don't you think? So who is the one to blame? The man? The man just take advantage. So, but why would female workers less likely to challenge the authority? like in Taiwan, what do you think might be the reason? Well, yeah, I think it's a culture thing, don't you think? Sometimes in our family, in Taiwan, the first time I went to my friend's house, I realized, oh, my mom is too powerful. You know, look at, you know, my friend's mom, you know, she will serve us first. And according to her, her husband is number one, her son is number two, she is the lowest one in the household. So if that's the case, I think the girls also follow their mom, saying, "Oh, you know, we are less important than the boys." So that kind of mentality within the household, you know, will continue. So big problem. What should I do? So they will experience a lot of verbal abuse in company, and then also sexual harassment as well. So discrimination lifelong in the third world. And now we have a lot of women in the workforce now. Now, some people say women go to work. Well, is it good? Some people say, well, we don't know whether it is good or not, but we just need that second salary. It's an economic necessity now. That's one way of to see how women go to work. The other one is saying women go to work to have we call financial independence. For example, my wife, she said, I enjoy teaching. You know, she teaches English. She works and she's happy with her work. But she said, once I think you might depend on my working, then I'm very frustrated. So if she said if she felt I don't depend on her job to help out in the family, you know, finance, then she is very happy with working. But whenever she said, oh, do you have some extra money so we can send money to our son's wedding? She felt upset. You know, she said, well, I don't want my work is like because you have to depend on me. Okay, and so that's financial independence. But she's happy working, and that is a social status as well, right? In Taiwan, I'm sorry, women, ladies, you have to work because only by working you can be called Miss. 只要你是上班族，你就是小姐。你不上班 if you don't work, if you're 21, 22, you go to shop. Some people, you know, still very smart, calling you, you know, Miss. But a lot of people be very rude. They will call you 大婶, or 太太. Okay, if you don't work. This is very strange. You can be a 小姐even when you are in your 60 working, right? But if you don't work, if you are just a a housewife, you're 25, you're 太太. So there's a social status things in Taiwan. So women wants to go to work. Sometimes it's an economic necessity because the economy is not good. But a lot of time it's a financial independence and also social status. Okay. If we look at the economic issues, then we also have some we call the structural adjustment program. Here, okay, I think that people call, because of the structural adjustment program, the government will cut what? Government will cut budget, will cut, you know, subsidies, will cut welfare programs. So people say this is what we call feminization of poverty. And this is also true in Taiwan. Now, can anyone explain why people who live under poverty line in Taiwan, there are more women than men. Why? Why more women live under poverty line than men?
Because there are more working opportunity for men.
Why there are more working opportunity for men in Taiwan than women? Why I always read the advertisement say female single, never ask for male married. 好看广告好像都是单身女性未婚啊，没有说广告征已婚中年失业男性。But so why are the women under poverty line? Can you explain? Anyone? Can we list some reasons? Why females are more under poverty line? 王宇宏、徐振兴，来 ，OK. Why? More
ability to have challenges.
men are men have more ability to meet challenges.
I mean, like it's like a single female.
Mm-hmm.
They can go wherever they want.
Uh-huh.
Not like men who have family and have to take care of whole family.
So because of the challenge, so they are more likely to take up the responsibility. They are less likely to be under the poverty line. We're trying to get the logic here. So because of the I think you're talking about responsibility. Then so they will have to work hard to do that. Is that true? I thought men in Taiwan are pretty irresponsible. If I cannot afford, just abandon. A lot of men run away from family, right? Abandon kids, abandon wife. So hey, just feed himself. That's easy, right? I don't know how many mother abandon the kid, but a lot of father abandon the whole family. But the other one is, I think, truly is. We have most employer have to pay men more. They feel that men, because of the responsibility, you can squeeze the women a little bit more. Pay less for women. You don't feel I think the conscience is not a big problem there. But if you know the family, no men have to pay, raise the family, you will have problem. What other reason for Taiwan to have more female on the poverty line or in the third world in general? 邱万成. Yeah, what? You have to think, okay? Why? Parent.
Give more money to the boys.
Okay, what do you think? Parents will give more money to the boys? So, man, okay, I think it's a little bit related. Look at least, okay, more men are entitled to the land, right? We talked about this already. Very few female can inherit the land. So even if a husband died, okay, the widow probably will have difficult time to inherit the land. So that's another reason. Just lesser access to land, lesser access to credit. It will make more difficult for women to rebound. So those are, feminization of poverty. But is this the same case in Taiwan right now? 我们的贫穷也有女性化的趋势吗？ Not sure. Okay, I'm not sure, but it's a third world problem. Why? Especially like, do you know this country called Greece? They also have a structural adjustment program. They said working, wages need to be cut. Okay, women already have lower wages. In the third world, when you have structural adjustment program, then they also cut wages, and women will be cut even lower. Okay, so because everybody is trying to come out of the crisis, so structural adjustment program will hurt women in terms of their wages, and then government will have less money for health care, and women also suffer because of the health care issues. Women have to visit the doctor, I think, more than men. If you don't have an adequate health care system, also suffer more. And inadequate social safety net. Okay. Now, in Taiwan, we have some of the, we call safety net job recruiting or job creation program. When we have unemployment problem, we created a lot of jobs, or we try to help company to create jobs in private sectors and maybe also in other sectors as well. But most of those jobs are geared toward men. Okay? Because I think within government's head, what kind of job you're going to create, you create those jobs you feel more important. And those are, most of the time, job for the men. So women have a big problem here. So if this is the issue, women have lower wages in the mainstream. If women, have no access to even to the job program, 台湾中文我们叫什么 job program？ 每次创造就业机会 ，okay? And those jobs are a lot of times for men. So don't you think then we should have, going back again, women in development instead of women in development? Because women in development, you have lesser wages, lower wages, you have lower status. Also, like, for example, how many of your professors in Tsinghua, in your department, for example, you have majority of the female professor being full professor? 哪一个系？就是什么系 ？Computer Science。你们的女性教授里头，以正教授多？有正教授不？OK 有但是升正教授 OK promotion to full professor about the same ratio as male professor or less? Less. Okay. The only thing I have to show you example is in my institute, right? We have a lot of female research fellow. But some of my colleagues would say, well, study we call soft politics or low politics will be fine. But if our female professor want to study, concentrate on security issue, security, 安全战略, some of our male professor or male research fellow would say, hey, 这个问题，这个娘们怎么能玩？娘们 ，How do you translate 娘们 ？Women, okay. So basically, they said women, should not deal with like nuclear issues. So if women in literature will be fine, right? Women with environmental issue, I think should be fine. But women with high, tech, war, that's not right. So if you have that, the promotion is going to be slow. In Taiwan, how many universities do we have? 100, This is a very sad figure we have to remember. Okay. In Taiwan, I think we have 160 university, right? And then, how many female president of the university? Okay, if we just look, or just how many deans do we have? 清华有几个院长是女性？系主任，这种系主任 from the department head. How many department head? Women. We have one division in my university, in my institute. Men fighting to be the chairman, okay? And women didn't care. And then they always said, why are they so care about being the chair, okay? And then one of my colleagues, a male, is like, if I cannot be the chair before retirement, then I cannot face my ancestors. 愧对祖宗. I don't think female professors have that problem. So they feel this is so childish. So they don't even want to be the chair. Okay, maybe that's. But I tell you one, the figure for president of the university, at one time I know, out of one, at that time was 140 some university, 3 female president. Okay. So you look at the university like National Taiwan University, 交通 University, 成功, 清华, 政大, 师大. I don't think you can find a female professor, female president so far. So very difficult. And once you have that, the same thing in the third world is that percentage, do you want to join this women in development or do you want to be women in development? 明传大学最棒 right? Why? 明传大学校长，女子大学女子校长，女性校长，好吧 Okay? I still remember this lady just passed away a few years ago called Bao Deming. Very famous when we were in college, and she claimed that Mingchuan student cannot go to dance party, but wherever we go, everywhere it's Mingchuan girls. She tried to be very disciplined, but at least here you have a female university and then you have a female president. So that's almost like women and development. Okay? So that's how you try to do. So the same thing with the 主妇联盟. In addition to 主妇联盟, what else do we have in Taiwan? Like, do we have certain kind of chain stores that is women? 有没有连锁店是女性加盟的？什么面包的啊，早餐好像有很多早餐，什么姐姐饭团啦，什么妹妹豆浆啦，Do we have those? But I don't think you can. Maybe we have one, right? One woman in development. What is it? Betona lady. 卖槟榔。算是自创嘛，也不是，也是被男性在后面控制 ，right? Okay. But I think about the breakfast shop. Don't you think those male cannot say, 我在卖什么姐姐饭团？我现在记不记得了 ？Okay. 换一个男生出来不好吧 ？Okay. So do we have those chain stores like coffee shop or any kind of or flower shop? A lot of female, right, set up flower shop. What else? Those we call women in development. And those are very much we call the feminist groups, right? They believe that you have to and I think this is the question here. People say people worry about feminists. not because of their idea, but because of their outfit. 啊，大家都不反对女性主义者，但是反对女性主义者的服装。Usually they wear gray. They have straight hair, right? They wear pants. So some people say, you can be a feminist, but please with some feminicity. 可不可以作为一个有女人味道的女性主义者 ？Okay, I think that's the word. Okay, feminist with feminicity. But feminist is the one that try to challenge, to change the situation. So in the third world, we find, the social issue. Do you challenge the social, or if there is discrimination, you set up your separate way so that you will not be exploited. If you go to work for the male-dominated economy or business or enterprises, you're going to get exploited. So why don't you try to help with we call co-ops? Co-ops 中文叫什么？就是像主妇联盟这种叫 co-ops， 合作社，co-ops, and then help each other. So you get rid of the middleman, you get rid of the exploitation. Then you can also help other sister. Okay, so this is WAD. I think is we call sisterhood. What do you mean by sisterhood? 要问女性啊，郑一涵 ，What do you mean by sisterhood? 就是 sister is a noun. Sisterhood 是修女戴的那个头套，是不是这样 ？Sisterhood. Have you heard of brotherhood? Okay, so what is sisterhood? Brotherhood 是修士戴的帽子，sisterhood 修女戴的，什么？ Okay, but what does it really mean, sisterhood? Okay, if in Chinese, how do you translate? 不是意思，妇女会不对。姐妹情，差不多。Should be sisterhood. It's a bonding that you will help other females. So WAD is like that, right? You set up your industry. You try to help other women so that they can get better pay. They're not going to go to work facing harassment, facing abuse. They're going to get a decent pay. Their job will be taken care of. Okay, so those are WAD, and then people also try to set up, that's another one, female co-op for nurse, taking care, what do we call, taking care of the kids, okay, a nursery, okay, female manage the whole thing, the nursery. So they help each other, and then, some of them, if they can learn the skill, and then they can set up other nursery as well or go to work. So those very important idea, WAD. But would that be something going to work in the reality of the third world? We look at WID, okay, women in development. Is this still the better way, like getting better education, fighting for your legal equality? We call this not absolute, but economic equality, same pay for same kind of work. How many of you will challenge 叶子瑜? Will you challenge if you go to work and you find out you're both basically given the same position in a company, that a male student get a male, recruitee got better pay than you? Will you challenge that? You will say, hey, we're doing the same thing, economic equality. You will, and then the company says, you don't have to come back tomorrow. What will you do? what will you do? First, get a female legal help, right? Female lawyer saying, I've been discriminated against. Get her some evidence and sue. Wow. I'm not sure that's the best answer. And then, you know, the next job, people say, why did you leave your first job? Oh, because I didn't get equal pay. I don't think you can get equal pay here as well. So what do you do? So, but this is something, economic equality. Okay, do you want to fight within the WID, or do you think, hey, enough is enough? I'm going to set up my own, or going to the women-only group. But that still does not represent the majority, okay, of the economy. So we'll finish this one. I'm sorry, I sent you the review sheet for the final. Okay, so if you have any question, let me know the next 2 weeks. I think the final should be June 15th. Okay, and I will try to send you the country project copy sample. Maybe no later than Thursday, because my assistant just having what do we call qualify exam tomorrow. Okay, so after she finished the qualify exam, I asked her to scan something so you know. Some of you might not remember which country you're responsible. We will also try to send you that one. Okay.